Welcome to Cocktails with the Crew, a podcast about wedding planning, episode 1.
Hi, I'm Jessica Burke. I'm the publisher of New Orleans Weddings Magazine, and this is Jessica Talzak.
Yes, I'm the Director of Special Events for Republic NOLA.
And we are here for Cocktails with the Crew. So welcome to our inaugural episode. We are excited to have you here. So Jessica, tell us a little bit about what we're drinking today.
Yes, so our cocktail of the day today is the Le Pois Mule. So it is Grey Goose Le Pois vodka, which is pear flavored, with ginger beer and some lime. So really simple, but always a crowd pleaser, and just a little twist on a traditional classic. So
it's fantastic. Can't wait to get started with that. Well, before we start drinking, I want to tell you a little bit about Cocktails with the Crew and what we're going to be doing. We will be meeting with some of our favorite wedding pros and some brides, grooms, just fun people that we love to work with, and asking them questions about the wedding world and just what they love about their jobs, and couples that are planning, what they're having fun with and what they're planning to do. So pretty excited about it.
Yeah, so each episode is going to have a topic, kind of a topic of the day, and we'll just talk about some different perspectives on that topic, and just helping brides kind of get a vision of what they're looking for moving forward.
Yeah, it gives a little peek into the inner workings of the wedding world. So we're very excited about that. Okay, so bridging communication gaps is our first topic, and we have brought in one of our favorite planners, Miss Stacy Lewis of Jazzy Events, and we're going to invite her on over to the set, and I think we're going to swap some seats here. So, Stacy, come on in and drinks. Here we go. Drink. All right. Thank you. And I'm going to hop over here onto this spot. All right, everybody. Let's start off with a little toast. Toast to the crew. Yes. Oh, is it? I can't wait to try it. It tastes really good. And Jessica made these herself, so
real good.
I have bartender skills too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, mad bartender skills. That's awesome.
Mad, right?
Yeah,
really,
that's
really,
awson.
Really
It is delicious. I love ginger beer and everything.
Oh,
so do
awesome.
I.
I gotta pace myself. So Stacy, tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, your views on life and weddings in the world.
So, hi, I am Stacy Lewis, owner and creator of Jazzy Events, which is an event planning and design company here in New Orleans. Also, I have the Eldridge Auditorium, which is our venue on the West Bank, and then we started the Be Selfish Bride blog, which is in connection with New Orleans Wedding Magazine. So we're really excited about that. So I've been in the business about 10 years now, so it's been a little while.
So tell us a little bit about Be Selfish Bride, because that's a concept I think maybe people wouldn't understand initially. They may think, oh, well, selfish is bad, but I think your perspective is that that's a little different on that.
Definitely. I always tell my brides, I found myself always telling my brides to stop thinking about everybody else, be selfish, and actually make this wedding day about you and your fiance. That's what it should be about. So I always tape myself when I talk to my clients, and I always kept myself saying, be selfish, be selfish. I'm like, okay, so let's just make it a brand. Mm-hmm. And so that's how Be Selfish Bride kind of came into fruition. It's more of just letting brides know it's okay to be selfish when it's your wedding day, because you cannot get these memories back. So be selfish. Don't be, bridezilla.
Yeah.
But be selfish and just enjoy the process.
It's just so easy to, let other people kind of take the reins and take over, whether it's family members or, your friends influencing you or whatever it is.
Because a lot of brides they have the personality where they just want to please everybody else, and it's about them. It's your wedding. So just be selfish. Yeah. It's okay to be selfish.
And you not only have the blog, but you also will accept reader-submitted questions. So just in case anybody's wondering, you can go to thenowbride.com and click on The Selfish Bride and get some sage advice from Stacy on the website. She'll be answering questions.
Directly through the Now Bride website.
Yes, awesome. So we brought you here to talk about communication, ironically enough, bridging communication gaps in the wedding industry. And so, Jessica, I know you had some questions on that one.
So, talking about the wedding industry as a high volume business. I think that, one of the challenges we see a lot is kind of getting brides to realize that they're not your only client. They're important to you, and they're, of course, the forefront of your business, but getting them to realize that it is a high volume business, and it's not, you can't always get back to them instantly.
Right.
So being able to kind of forge those communication bonds and everything, what's kind of your take on that? How do you communicate with your brides, and what do you find works for you?
So for me, it always starts at the very beginning. So from the consultation, when they're trying to even see if you're even the right fit for them, I kind of set the standard almost there, and it kind of just carries over once they actually become my client. So literally the first thing I would say is, okay, what is their profession compared to what I do? I have nurses, I have doctors, I have school teachers that are my clients. So it's really more about working, knowing what their schedule is,
right?
Setting that precedent at the beginning of, okay, is it okay to text you, or do you prefer to be text? Do you prefer emails? Do you prefer phone calls? Do you prefer video?
Right.
I do a lot of FaceTime because a lot of my clients are not here.
Right.
So at the very beginning, even from the consultation, that kind of gives me an idea of what the bride actually, how they want to communicate. And then we just kind of carry that throughout the planning process once they actually become my client. So it really just depends on the client and how much hand holding I need to be. It really just depends on the client, and then we kind of just go from there. But from the beginning,
you have to set expectations.
You have to do it at the very beginning, because if you don't, then it's gonna be kind of weird and kind of awkward sometimes. And then sometimes your clients are not satisfied because they have this idea of what a wedding planner is, or what a wedding planner is supposed to do.
Right.
And then that's not what you hired me to do.
Exactly.
So if you set it at the beginning, you don't have any issues.
So with that, it's very important to outline exactly what's expected on both ends, so that the clients know what exactly you are going to do for them. Do you tell them what you don't do as well, or do you just leave it at, this is what I do?
I don't really, that's a good one, Jessica. I don't really say what I don't do, but in the service that they hired me for, is crystal clear what they are getting. So that way, and then they may ask, hey, I don't see this. Can you do this? Can you do this? Yeah. I know you're not going to answer my email at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I know what your schedule is. But I also do it so at the beginning of the week for all of my clients, like my wedding that I have for that week. All of my other clients, I say, hey, you guys, this is Stacey, just checking in with you. I do have weddings on Friday and Saturdays of this week. Let me know. That's just an email, like an automatic that I just have standard for the week on Mondays. And that kind of lets my clients know, hey, I'm working. If you do need something, please don't hesitate to email me or text me. But, that kind of just, they kind of know it at the beginning, though. Right.
So do you outline your expectations of what you need from them too? Because I think that would probably be really important, that it's a two-way street with communication in all ways here.
And I do. And again, it just depends, because for me, I do day of, month of planning, partial planning, full planning, as well as just design. So it can be a combination of design and planning, or just planning. So it really just depends on what service the client has. Once they know what the service is, then I kind of set the expectation of, okay, if it's day of, month of, then if their wedding is on the 29th of each month, then they know on the 29th of the month, like that's their wedding day, November 29th, let's just say. Then that means on the 29th of each month, they know that's their day. Or around that time, if just depends on what it is. So they know around that time of the month, that's normally when we're going to get some kind of communication of following up. What's the next details? What needs to be done next? And every single one of my clients know that.
That's great.
So that way, it's not, okay, when am I going to talk to my wedding planner this month?
She just disappeared on me.
Right. Yeah. They already know I literally do that at the very beginning. Like, hey, we're going to get some type of communication, whether it be email or phone or FaceTime. And again, I kind of know, but based on the client, what works for them. And then we kind of just keep in touch every month like that.
Great. So you do a lot of design work, not just planning, which is a difference. If you could tell us a little bit about the difference between planning and event design, because a lot of people think a wedding planner also goes in and designs or makes it beautiful. I mean, I know it will run beautifully with a planner, but that's not necessarily part of your job description.
Correct. A planner is there to make sure, like I tell people all the time, a wedding planner is basically your personal assistant. That's basically what it is.
Sounds
Logistics.
great.
That is what a wedding planner is.
Right.
It is basically your personal assistant for your wedding life. Because you have your regular life going on, but then you have your wedding life. Yeah. So they are your personal assistant. We are your personal assistant for your wedding life. Mm-hmm. A wedding designer, a totally different ballgame. That's more of, you can sit down with me, we'll go over floor plans, we'll go over flowers, we'll go over, are you a candle person? Mm-hmm. Do you like taffeta more than sequins? Like, we're going to go over the look of what your wedding is going to look like, and then we execute it. A wedding planner can get with your designer and make sure that plan is executed, but not necessarily are going to design how it's going to actually look. Some wedding planners are just not creative like that.
Right.
They're organized.
They're logistics. Right.
Exactly. They're going to make sure it runs right, time-wise, everything flows right.
Everybody gets paid and all of that good
Correct.
stuff.
Your designer's going to make sure it looks right.
Right.
And that's the major difference between the two.
Well, that's awesome. That's a great distinction, because I think that's something a lot of people don't really know how to verbalize or even conceptualize the difference they see. So like you do both in some cases, depending on what you're contracted for, and some just do one or the other. So
right.
I think that's an excellent point to notice, like and a question to ask when someone's meeting with a planner or designer of what they're capable of doing. So.
Correct. You have to know, and I kind of ask my clients at the beginning again, what is it that you're looking for? Again, setting the expectation from the beginning of what they're actually looking for, and then that way you kind of be able to guide them where they need to go.
Awesome. So, did you have?
So just kind of expanding on that, I know you mentioned FaceTime. Technology seems to have helped a lot with communication. Just in general in life, but especially when it comes to planning and communicating things visually.
Right.
So are there any other tools other than FaceTime that you find, whether it's apps or, Google Drive or whatever you use to kind of stay organized?
So I personally, business-wise, I use 17 Hats, which kind of keeps me, I'm able to use templates, I'm able to send emails like automatically, so it kind of keeps my business flowing. Especially since I have more than one business and we have multiple clients between those businesses. So for me, 17 Hats works because it's able to organize a client, organize what's going on, send them what they need when they need it, and still, it's not me sending it on that day.
Right.
I can actually organize my life. I can be on vacation, but then next week, everything kind of goes out automatically because I've already set it. Correct.
Yeah, I've never heard of that
one. For me.
So is it like a monthly subscription kind of thing?
You can do it monthly. I just pay for it annually. It's just cheaper.
Yeah,
to do it
a year. Yeah,
because it basically is a customer service tool.
That's great.
It keeps you organized and it keeps your everything in line, so where you're not using a binder. We don't use binders anymore.
Yeah.
I started 10 years ago using binders.
I know. I still
Excel
have
spread. Now I use Excel spreadsheets for some things.
The binder people in business.
Oh, I know.
But that 17 Hats.
I still have my binder, but just for contracts. I only print the contracts now, just so that I can have hard copies in one place of all my contracts. But yeah, I know what you mean. When I first started 10 years ago, I had the binder with all the tabs. And
yes. January, February, March, April, who's client. But the 17 Hats, you can do that. You're actually able to, they can sign online, they can pay online, everything contract-wise. And
that's great.
I print a physical copy as well, so I can have that. Just never know when it's going to crash.
Yeah.
So you can have that paperback.
The good and bad of technology, for sure.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I had a question too, sometimes brides have a vision in their head, but they can't necessarily, I always like to say, I wish I could just hook a printer up to my brain and print out with the picture in my head.
I know, right?
So how do you communicate effectively when you're on the design side, or even on any side of it? Like, how do you communicate and get a clear understanding from them, and then also what you're going to do? What is the best way for brides to communicate with you what they're thinking of? Because you're thinking like, oh, the color pink, that could have a million different shades of pink.
Right. The first thing I try to do is, believe it or not, is ask them what they don't like. That's what I ask them, what they don't like. So that way, I hate roses. I hate roses. I don't like roses. I don't like fresh flowers. I'm like, fresh flowers, that's like the best thing to do. But it's not about me.
Right.
It's about, I need to know those things. I need to know.
You're right.
What you
People
don't
are definitely very, I feel, more strongly opinionated about what they do not want.
Correct.
Rather than knowing for sure what they want.
Correct. So I start there. I start with what you don't like, what you hate. And then once they kind of go through that, if they still kind of have an idea, then it's more of, okay, close your eyes. I always tell them, like, close your eyes and tell me, when you walk into this room, what is the thing that you have to see or have to feel? If you don't see or feel these things, it's going to ruin your wedding day.
Oh,
that's what's that?
Yeah.
So I kind of do those two things first, and then we kind of just start to map out, you know, what do you want your wedding to be what your normal life is? Like, I'm a very reserved, kind of conservative person on a day-to-day basis. But for my wedding, it was glitz and glam. I was the total opposite of what I would be. But some people, they just, you know, they live simple, everyday lives, but they want their wedding day to be that's
over the top.
Chandeliers everywhere. You know, that's what they want. So you kind of have to figure out what they don't like, you know, what they see in their head vision-wise, and then kind of start to build a plan.
I love that you said that you ask them what they feel, like what they want to feel on the day, too. Because, you know, as someone who does a lot of design work, too, the ambiance, you know, it's hard for people to convey all the little details they want to see, but they can talk about the overall vibe that they want to feel.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, and they always say, majority of the time you get that with the romantic feel.
Candlelit.
Okay,
right.
But for you, automatically you said candles. But for another bride, romantic is flowers dripping everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's white flowers dripping everywhere. You know? So it's more of, okay, so when they say I want a romantic feel, then my thing is, okay, so what's romantic to you?
Right.
You know, romantic for me, if my husband, you give me a foot rub, that's romantic for me. But, you know, but what
foot rub station might not be.
Massage day for the wedding. I can take that.
You know,
somebody does that.
Dancing too long, it's going to take a 5-minute rub.
Yes.
You know, foot rub. But, you know, if it's kind of ask those questions, just like when we talk about, you know, budget. Like I always talk about what's the average budget. That's normally the first thing I discuss with my clients. And then they'll give me a number. And then I have to go back and ask, okay, so in that number, you're trying to do everything?
Right.
Or is you trying to do just your food and your bar?
Right.
You know, so that way they understand
that there's so much that goes into it. And, you know.
Exactly. And you can work out your priorities of what can come out and what you can live without. And then you can be happy with it. You can make the decision. You're not being forced, you know, to get rid of your absolute favorite thing just because the budget is.
Right, because somebody will say, I have a $20,000 budget, but that's just for their food and bar.
Right.
They're not thinking, decor, planning, transportation, hotels, dress, makeup, hair. Like, they're not thinking all those things. In their mind, their budget is just on their food and their bar. Not knowing you probably got another $20,000 you need to add to that.
You know,
you got some playroom.
So people definitely have a little bit of sticker shock. So communicating that as well and making people realize that it, you know, first and foremost, it is an industry. It is a business.
It is a business.
Yeah.
It's a for-profit business.
A for-profit business,
It'd be nice if we could all just do this just because we love it, which we do.
We do. You have to love it, though.
Yeah, you have to love it.
Yes.
This industry.
So definitely. So that's kind of the major, the first thing I kind of do is kind of sit with them with budget, and then we kind of go through, you know, what they don't like. And that's how we that's how I start the communication, and that's mainly once they've already become my client.
Right.
But again, I've already asked those questions in my consultation, so it kind of gets a good idea of, you know, who they are. Because if you don't know, like, and trust your vendor, you don't need to hire them.
Yeah, that's very true.
You have to feel like you know
having that good fit.
You have to feel like it, because, and I've told brides before, I'm not your planner. I'm just not, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's perfectly okay for you to meet with several planners, meet with several photographers, go to several different venues, because you gotta feel it. You gotta feel like, oh yeah,
you're gonna be hanging out with this person a lot, so
you
have to not just tolerate them. You want to look forward to seeing them, especially on a day like your wedding.
Yes.
Correct. And I'm like, I tell people, if you don't feel like you know your vendors, like them, and trust that they can do what you want to get done, don't hire them. Don't hire them.
That's some great advice. Well, Stacey, thank you so much for joining us.
I
hope you enjoyed cocktails with us. And I just want to remind everybody to head on over to thenowbride.com and click on Be Selfish Bride and send Stacey any of your planning related questions. If you think you're being too selfish or not selfish enough, she'll tell you. She will tell you. So send her your questions, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time on Cocktails with the Crew.
That was fun.
Cocktails with the Krewe is a New Orleans Weddings Magazine production, filmed on location at Republic NOLA in New Orleans Warehouse District, featuring host Jessica Talazak, Director of Special Events for Republic NOLA, and Jessica Burke, publisher of New Orleans Weddings Magazine. Audio recording by Ellen Kramer. Video by Brian Jarrow. Theme music, Blues Genius by Steve Fox. Copyright 2019, New Orleans Weddings Magazine.